What's the deal, YouTube? What's the deal, YouTube? And welcome back to Hard Hitting Sports. And it's been a while. That's right. It's been a while since the Super Bowl. This has been a very fucking boring week for me. But I wish I didn't have to come back and talk about this type of news. Not this type of news. The UFC seems to have a real drug problem. They have a real fucking drug problem. Now, in the event where Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz fought in, both Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz tested positive. Anderson Silva tested positive for a steroid, and Nick Diaz tested positive for smoking weed. Now, in a second test, Anderson Silva, I haven't heard anything other than he did. The second test did come back clean. Now, if you guys remember as well, John Jones went into a rehab facility for his problems with drugs. And I was also reading an article about George St. Pierre. And in that article from George St. Pierre was saying that he is ready to make his return, but he was saying something like the UFC needs a better testing. So let's let's take a look at that real quick. Where is it? Here is the article right here. GSP says he declined Anderson Silva's fight, feared Silva's PED test was the tip of the iceberg. When George St. Pierre announced an indefinite leave from the fight based mainly on what he claimed was rampant PED use in MMA. Many whistled at the notion that it was as bad as GSP was intimating. Some proclaimed that the popular French-Canadian fighter, who often found himself at the center of PED accusations throughout his storied career himself, was making excuses, and that he simply could not compete with the new breed of fighter. Now, listen, he says I know PED use was a big problem, and it seems like George St. Pierre was absolutely fucking right. Now, and like I was saying in that second test, Anderson Silva was tested clean, but he was removed from TUF anyway. And I was reading an article the other day that said that it says something like they're trying not to pay this guy. But here we are on another day. I say all of that to say this: Hector Lombard. Roy McDonald versus Hector Lombard has been cut from the UFC 186 card, and Hector Lombard has failed a test. Hector Lombard failed the UFC 182 drug test. So yet another fighter with these issues. Yet another UFC fighter is battling these fucking issues. UFC has a drug problem, and fucking Dana White needs to nip this in the ass. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he needs to fix this problem because it is becoming very, very serious in the UFC right now. Seems like every single fucking day I pick up I go on my Twitter feed, is someone else accused of doing drugs or steroids or whatever. UFC needs to get this nipped in the butt. I don't know what their testing procedures are or what they discourage. I mean, if you get like, I mean, come on. A organization the size of Major League Baseball went through this problem. They went through this problem. From everything that I know right now, they've kind of got it under control. But at one point, it was running rampant in Major League Baseball as well. And the UFC really, really needs to fix this thing and get it under control. Because now people are going to start saying, all right, every single fighter in the UFC, who was that? A few years ago, the steroid man, I started calling him the steroid man, Alstar Overeem, tested positive. It's It's absolutely crazy. Dana White, you need to get this fixed, buddy. It's not helping your sport. Anyway, let me know what you feel about this. Of course, we have UFC Fight Night coming this weekend. The NBA All-Star Game will be this weekend as well. I'm going to be talking about both of those as we come through this weekend. But I just wanted to get on here on this Tuesday and talk about Hector fucking Lombard. Test positive for steroids. Peace.